Alright, good morning people of YouTube. This time we're back with something super fun and super degenerate. So if you guys like this kind of content, make sure you guys like and subscribe, and without further ado, here's 3-color Shakkou control. So starting with the eggs, I got 4 copies of Upamon. This is the best egg in the deck. You should be playing a 5th one. It really doesn't matter what it is. Because this is the most important one, but you can get to a grind game. And if you do get to a grind game, you're going to want a 5th egg. However, this deck utilizes its raising area a lot. So there are most games that I don't even need the 5th egg, but it is a point of contention. You can play it, you can choose not to, but you at least need 4 Upa. Going right along with the rookies, I got 4 copies of Fatamon. Fatamon is really good. It lets you DNA Digivolve at the end of the turn, which triggers like all of your effects. This is going to be really broken in some of the combos we have later. We got 3 copies of the Jamming Vmon, because it's one of the few cards that you can swing with early game to get some aggression going. And it's one of the bodies that you'll kind of have just floating around and play whenever you're ending the game, swinging out with a bunch of checks with your Shakkou. So this is a good card. If you see it early game, feel free to swing with it. And then for the rest of the cards, I got 1 copy of the Bt8 Vmon. I got 3 copies of the starter deck Vmon. The reason I'm choosing this, we have a lot of free cards in the deck. This card will let us see cards like Ankylomon. This will let us see Shakkoumon. This Vmon will also let us see Shakkoumon. But this Vmon can also grab the Angemon, where this Vmon can't. So this is kind of the reason for the split. The 2-color cards in the deck that this can grab are kind of less than the amount of free cards in the list. So I do want to at least include one of the Bt8 Vmon, though. And you do have to include a fair number of Vmon, because I am playing Magnemon in this list, because it is both a blue and a yellow source for Shakkou. So this is really nice. I do like the Vmon line. And then for the last rookie in the deck, I got 3 copies of Armadillomon. So the Armadillomon is absolutely key. This can grab any 2-color yellow card, similar to this Vmon, where it grabs any 2-color blue card. And like the other Vmon, that can grab cards like Megadeth and Ken Davis, this Armadillomon can grab cards like Flaming Hellscythe and Chaos Degeneration. So this is kind of where the idea for the 3 colors came in. Plus, it's a free card, so that you can grab it off of this Vmon, and it evolves off of a blue egg, so synergy. So, do like this level 3 lineup, and it's been working really well for me. Going on to the level 4s, I got 4 copies of Ankylomon. This card's kind of busted. You're able to play this for 3, still keep it your turn if you have a Memory Tamer. Jawgrass into Shakkou for, also free. And then whenever Shakkou's going to recover, bounce something back. And then whenever you swing with the Shakkou, you can just give something minus 3,000, which is absolutely busted. If you swing the Shakkou into an Armor Digimon, you can just give that Armor Digimon minus 3,000 right then and there. Shakkou will kill the armor in battle, and then the Vmon will die because it has lower than 0 DP. So this is absolutely nice. I love this card, and I wouldn't play any less than 4. The next 4 is 4 of the Angemon from Bt8. This card is also cracked. The worst part about this card is that it's 3 to evolve into. However, if you are at 3 or less security whenever you evolve on top of this card, including if you Jawgrass, then you get to recover. So there have been times that I've had this in my raising area, right? I had Fatamon with Angemon on top of it, and my opponent just got their big Pyildramon playoff, so they put me to 2 security. All I do is I promote this, and I hard slam another Angemon down. Jawgrass both of these into Shakkoumon right here. I recover off of Angemon, go up to 3. I recover off of Angemon, go up to 4. I recover off of Shakkoumon, go up to 5, and bounce the Pyildra back to their hand. And then anytime they try to set up after that, I can swing with Shakkou and then bounce 2 level 3s. This Angemon is absolutely absurd, and I'm surprised more people aren't playing it. yes, it's expensive to Digivolve on top of, or to Digivolve into, but, like, its effect is so good that I don't think it should mitigate that cost. This card is just a mandatory at least 3 of in this list, and it's just absolutely great. I'm choosing to play 3 Magna instead of 4. This is a blue and a yellow source, as well as the Angemon for the Shakkou. But I only play 8 Vmon, so you're only going to evolve it for 3 some of the time. And I don't have a crap ton of armors in this list, so it's not going to get super big, but it can get kind of big. And Magnamon is just always a good card to have in your list. It's a good blocker. It's a good card to pull out. It's a good card. Play 3 of it. The last level 4 I'm playing in the list is a single copy of Subarimon. So, I don't know how I feel about this card. People tell me it's good, and I'm inclined to believe them, but most of the time, whenever I've seen this card, I've just hard played it for 4 to Jawgrass. Like, its effect does come up sometimes, but not all the time. But, it is another card that is blue and yellow. It is a cheap card to slam down. It is cheaper to evolve on top of Armadillo, and it still evolves off a blue card. So this card has a lot of good utility, and sometimes it can provide good removal. But this card is relatively cheap, and it is a just good card to play. So it finds its way as a 1-of in this list. Now going on to the main level 5 in the deck, we got 4 copies of Shakkou himself. This card is broken. You get to bounce a card, you get to recover, and, then it has an inheritable effect that says something gets minus 3,000, and that's not even once per turn. So if you have, like, this Shakkou with an Ankylo under it, and then you evolve it into, like, War Greymon, then you're just deleting whole boards. Like, I think that's minus 15,000. No, it's minus 18,000 right there, because Ankylo isn't once per turn either. Yeah. Absolutely insane. Shakkou should have been a super rare. Like, that is, I think, not up for debate. This card is just absolutely amazing. And I'm surprised more decks aren't built around it. Like, it's as good as Pyildramon defensively as Pyildramon is offensively. And Pyildramon is broken, so is Shakkou. I have 1 Chimeramon rounding out the level 5s. This card needs to be bumped up to 2. I just don't know what to cut in this list. Space is super tight, but this card also combos really well with Fatamon. You can just give a lot of things minus DP off of your inheritable effects, then give it more minus DP off of the Chimera, so it's really good synergy, and this card is always going to be like 3 colors, so that's really nice. I do really like Chimera, and I need to find a room for a second one. The only level 6s I'm playing in the list are 2 War Greymon. So this card puts on a lot of aggression. This card can whittle yourself down to 3 security so that you can start Jawgrassing and getting those Angemon's effects, also while filling your hand, which is super important. And it just clears boards, gives you extra attacks, gives you extra control. This is just one of the best level 6s that you can put on top of Shakkoumon, and I'm definitely not the first person to have figured this out. Moving on to the Tamers. This is where this list gets super spicy. I'm playing 1 Davis, 2 Kari, 1 Cody, move these out of the glare, and then 3 of the Bt8 Kari, the purple one, that says whenever a card is removed from your security stack, you may suspend this Tamer to gain a memory. So, this purple Kari is absolutely cracked against Imperial and Armor Rush. If you put this card out and then set them to 3 off of their Davis, and they have XVmon, and they're looking at a Stingmon and a Pyildramon in their hand, typically they'd be in a good position if the Kari wasn't there. But because the Kari's there, they're just sitting at their hand looking like, man, I could swing at security like 3 times at least. But because Kari's there, if I swing even once, my turn's gonna end. So this card is absurd. It stacks if you get multiple in play. This combos off of War Greymon's effect, making it even better. You can basically just gain memory whenever you swing with War Greymon, which is, it's nuts. This card also triggers, like having a purple color in play so that you can pick up cards like Chaos Degradation and Flaming Hell Scythe off of your armadillos from earlier and then drop them and then get more value that way. So this card is absolutely absurd, and more people need to be playing at this format because this is definitely a sleeper pick for Tamers. The 1 Davis and 2 Bt8 Kari serve as your memory Tamers. Davis is good utility for searching, but Kari is also super important because you can recover whenever you evolve on top of your Angemon, or you evolve into Shakkou, or you activate, one of your options. It's just a good card. The Bt8 Kari is just really, really nice and a very welcome addition to the color, since the only memory tamer we had was TK, and TK is a dirty snitch sometimes. The last tamer we got in the deck is the single copy of Cody. This can fetch you stray memory here and there because a lot of your Digimon are yellow, but this also provides you an extra way to lower DP whenever swinging with cards like Shakkou. This card, with all of the sources that you're putting under Shakkou, will let Shakkou swing over any level 7 that you want, so that's absolutely nice. And yeah, it seems like I'm playing a lot of Tamers, especially considering I'm not playing any hybrids in the list, but all of them do different things, and all of them make it harder for your opponent to play the game, so I do really like all of those. Now for the options. This is the part where the list gets super funny. We got a single copy of Ice Wall and a single copy of Reinforcing Memory Boosts. They're both at 1 for a reason. Enough said. We have 3 copies of Blue Memory Boost. This card will help you find all of your key pieces. Shakkou, Magna, it'll search Angemon, it'll search your Fatamon, it'll grab your Vmons. The only card this really doesn't grab is Ankylo, which is kind of upsetting. But I still think it's worth it to play. It's important to set up early game. You're oftentimes going to put a Fatamon and an Angemon in your raising area and kind of leave it there until the mid-game, until your opponent swings at you at least once or twice. And you want to have something to play in the meantime. So Tamers and your memory boosts fill that role. And I think at least 3 of the blue boost and the 1 reinforcing. Having 4 memory boosts in the deck is a pretty good ratio. And then the last cards in the deck are super control-y cards. I have 1 Flaming Hell Scythe. While this deck doesn't play Magna Angemon, this deck does play the regular Angemon. This can also pull back Armadillo and get another search. It can pull back Ankylo to go for good Jawgrass plays. You have enough yellow Digimon in the deck to trigger the recursion effect, and just giving something minus 6,000 is also really good. This is just a really good card. The only reason I'm playing 1 of it is because there's, only, I think, 9 or 10 targets in the deck that this can actually pull back. So, it's a good card, but, yeah, it's definitely worth at least a 1-of slot. And then the last 4 are just hard removal. I got 2 copies of Wyvern's Breath, because this card is just always kind of good, unless it's, chilling in your hand, but you can gain a lot of memory in this deck because you're playing blue and yellow, and so sometimes, just hard casting your big removal isn't bad. But you're also recovering a lot. So if you see a Wyvern's Breath, or the last card in the deck, the Chaos Degradation, if you see either of these in security in certain matchups, you will win the game. If you're playing against X Antibody, and they check this card, they just lose, which is always funny. And, you run into situations like that. You're running into situations where, your opponent's swinging with a Black or Greymon, maybe they didn't hit a delicate plan, and they get Wyvern's Breathed out. That's really bad for them. And just with the amount that you're recovering, the odds that you aren't seeing at least 1 of these 5 cards in your security to blow something up at some point in the game, it's pretty low. You're usually going to see 1 of these, so that's it for the list. There's a lot of really cool combos, a lot of intricate things you can do. Play Shakkou, baby. This card's really good. Bye, everyone.